Hello and welcome everyone to another video. Today we're gonna be talking about the best budget midfielders for the new season of Fantasy Premier League. So let's see how it looks like at the moment. The first player I wanna talk about is Emiliano Buendia from Aston Villa. Yes, he was playing at Norwich last season, but now he's an Aston Villa player. So as you can see, his stats last season in the championship were amazing. He scored 15 times, he got 16 assists, and his XG and XA per 90 was brilliant, 0.8 combined. But you need to take into consideration that he was playing in the championship, which is not the same as the Premier League. So firstly, we need to see how he's gonna perform in the Premier League, but we know that he can do that because he was playing at Norwich 2 years ago in the Premier League. So I think that he has what it takes to do really good in the Premier League. Okay, the fixtures for Aston Villa are pretty good in the first 3 games at least. They are playing Watford, Newcastle and Brentford at home, which is pretty good. But then it gets a little trickier. Of course, they are playing Chelsea, Everton and Man United away. So overall, I think that Buendia can be a great option at that price, 6.5 millions. I really like his price, but we know that he's a very creative player. So alongside Grealish, they can be very good this season. Of course, we need to see if what's gonna happen with Grealish, if he's gonna stay or if he's gonna leave to Man City. But for now, I think that Buendia can be a really good option for your first teams. Next up, we have Jack Harrison, a midfielder from Leeds. We know how good he was last season. I mean, just look at that. 8 goals, 10 assists, 4.5 points per match and chances created per 91.64. This is really incredible. Of course, we need to see if he can do that again, but I think that he has that potential. He could rival Rafinha for a spot in our teams because he's a little cheaper than him, and also maybe you can consider a double up with Rafinha and Harrison because they are so cheap and they are so good and reliable FPL options. The reason why Rafinha is not on this list is because I talked about him in my other videos. But for sure, Rafinha is maybe the best player in this bracket at 6.5 millions. Same goes with Bukayo Saka. Another good thing about Harrison is that he plays in a very attacking side in Leeds. We know that Leeds scored so many goals last season, which is very good for FPL. And overall, I think that Jack Harrison can be a great player at that price. The next player on this list is Dele Alli from Spurs. We know that he's an amazing player, but unfortunately for him, he didn't play much last season under Jose Mourinho because we know that they didn't get along. But now Spurs have a new manager in Nuno Espirito Santo, and I'm expecting Dele Alli to get much more game time this season, also because Bale is no longer a Spurs player. Okay, if you look at his stats from last season, yeah, they were pretty bad, but don't think about that. He didn't play enough to prove himself. The fixtures for Spurs are not bad. Okay, they are playing Man City, Chelsea and Arsenal away, which will be tough, but the fixtures against Wolves, Watford and Palace could be really decent, and maybe Dele Alli can get something there. His price looks amazing at 6.5 millions, I'm not gonna lie, but I think that he has that potential to be great if he's gonna be nailed on that team. So I'm gonna watch him very closely in the preseason. Next up we have Ismaila Sarr from Watford. He has a very nice price at 6 millions and I really think that he could be a steal at that price. So as you can see, he played very good last year in the championship with 13 goals, 4 assists and his XG per 90, 0.34 was pretty decent. But the good part about him is that Watford have got very nice fixtures to start the season with. They are playing Aston Villa, Brighton, Wolves, Norwich and Newcastle in the first 6 games, which is incredible. Of course, like all the players that are coming from the Championship to the Premier League, we need to see how they adapt to that, but he's a great player, we know him, and he played in the Premier League 2 years ago, if I remember well. But what I like about him is his goal threat, and we know that he's an explosive player, and that's what we are looking for when we sign a midfielder, right? So overall, we need to see how Watford perform in the preseason, but Sarr will be on my watch list for sure. The next player on this list is Leandro Trossard, the midfielder from Brighton, and in my opinion, he's a really interesting option at that price, 6.5 millions. And as you can see, his stats last season were pretty decent with 5 goals, 6 assists, and XG and XA the same 0.15, which is pretty good. But the best part about Trossard is that Brighton have got very nice fixtures to start the season with. They are playing Burnley, Watford, Everton, Brentford and Palace away in the first 6 games, which is incredible. And another thing about him is that his ownership is very low at the moment, almost 2%, because most people will go for Lamptey and Sanchez from Brighton, so he could be a very good differential too. Another thing is that he's a very creative player. He can assist, he can do set pieces, and of course he can be explosive too, and that's what I'm looking for when I wanna sign a midfielder at that price. Of course, we need to see how he performed in the preseason, but Leandro Trossard will be on my radar for sure. Next up, we have Billy Gilmour, a really cheap midfielder from Norwich. Okay, he's just a budget option at 4.5 millions, and the fixtures for Norwich are horrible in the first 4 games at least. They are playing Liverpool, Man City, Leicester and Arsenal, but the good part is that you're not gonna play him anyway, and if you need him, he's gonna get you some points at least from the bench. Okay, he didn't play much last season at Chelsea, but that's just because he didn't get any chances, and that's not the case now. I think that he's gonna play much more games this season at Norwich, and I really think that he has the potential to be a great player, and maybe he can be the best 4.5 midfielder in the game. So watch him very closely in the preseason. The next player on this list is Rowe, a midfielder from Arsenal. I really think that he's a great player, and he has a very nice price at 5.5 millions. And as I heard, he's gonna stay at Arsenal, and I hope that now he's gonna be a more important part for them this season, and hopefully he's gonna start most games this season. As you can see, his stats from last season weren't great, but he didn't play so much, obviously. Still, he got 2 goals, 5 assists and 3.7 points per match for a player at 5.5 millions. For me seems just too good. Of course, the fixtures for Arsenal are pretty mixed. They have some nice fixtures against Brentford, Norwich and Burnley away, but also they've got some tough fixtures against Chelsea, City and Tottenham. So overall, I really like Rowe, and I think that he's gonna be a reliable player for Arsenal and maybe for FPL. So I'm expecting Arsenal to step up their game a little this season if they wanna compete. So Rowe will be surely in my watch list. The next player I want to talk about is Thiago Alcantara from Liverpool, and I know that he's not the most attacking player from this list, but he's a great player and he plays in a great team that can score many goals, and obviously that helps him a lot. Okay, his stats last season weren't great, he scored just 1 goal, but we know that he had some problems with adapting to the Premier League and injuries, so I'm expecting him to be a much better player this season. Of course, Liverpool have got very nice fixtures, which is pretty good. They are playing Norwich, Burnley, Leeds, Crystal Palace and Brentford away, which is amazing. And another good thing is that he's gonna play every game, probably, and if you need him, he can come from the bench. So we know that he can be a very creative player, he can assist, he can score even goals. We saw that last year, so obviously it's pretty hard to integrate him in your team, because maybe you want to play with 3 Liverpool players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mane, Salah, Jota, and it's pretty hard to find a place for him. But overall I think that he's not gonna make you big holes, but at least he can be a good backup option if you need him. The last player on my list is Bissouma, and of course he's not an attacking player, but surely at 4.5 millions you're not looking for a goal scorer. And obviously he's gonna be a great enabler for your team, because he's gonna start every game. Okay, he's not gonna make you many points, but you don't need to play him every week, obviously. The good part is that Brighton have very nice fixtures to start with. They are playing Burnley, Watford, Everton, Brentford and Palace away, which is incredible. Okay, he's a great defensive player and he can score goals sometimes, but don't rely on that. So we need to see if he's gonna stay at Brighton and how they do in preseason. We will see, but in my opinion, Him and Gilmour are the best 4.5 midfielders in the game right now. Thank you so much for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please consider leaving a like or hit that subscribe button and let me know if you have any suggestion for my next video. See you next time.